Good afternoon. As I said, my name is Kevin MacDonald and I am one of the founders of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Not the only founder of it, there was 5 of us that started this beast, as I call it nowadays, in 2003, and it's since gone on to become probably the most famous bagpipe act in the world. And you know, out of that song there that we released at the end of January there, that YouTube video that was put together by the BBC, and I should say at this stage, I wasn't on that gig, but it was my idea. I'm going to claim that one. Has gone on to have 1.75 million YouTube hits. And I'm going to ask a question. How many downloaded it in this room? 1. So it made me absolutely bugger all. So, lesson of the story there is get the song out before they actually put it on the telly. But the Chili's itself and me as an individual, how did my story start and where did I go and how did I end up on this stage today? Well, going back to my university days, I actually, I was writing my speech for today and going, where does the story start? Probably as a 12 or a 13-year-old in school and going, well, my favourite subject's maths and I love maths and I want to be something connected with maths. And I think my dad at some stage, he had his own building company, so he was an entrepreneur, as you would say. And he said, son, I need somebody to do my books. So if you like maths, be an accountant. I thought, that's fine, I'll be an accountant, Dad. So 17-year-old, I liked doing accountancy at school, went to university, did my 4 years at university, came out of that, got to your 3rd year, your 4th year, I'm sitting going, I need to find a job now, I need to pay my bills, what am I going to do? I'll train as a CA, because the story always goes, if you've got your CA qualification, you can pretty much do whatever you want. As soon as you've got that qualification, you can go anywhere, be anybody, and do anything. So I left university, went to join a small Edinburgh firm. First time really in Edinburgh, actually. I was brought up in Aberdeen and then moved down to Glasgow for my teenage years. Came through Edinburgh, 3 years later, I'm an accountant. Now, in that 3 years as being the accountant, I came across a number of different clients in different sectors. All of them are owner-managed businesses that all started somewhere and gone, you know what, I'm fed up working for somebody else, I want to work for myself and do my own things in life and make my own judgments and make my own calls and not be incumbent of a boss telling me what I can and cannot do. And it was probably in those formative years that, as an accountant, I came across Stuart Cassels, who was one of the other founder members. And being brutally honest, as a trainee accountant, you got paid nothing. £9 was my first annual salary, and it wasn't a lot of money to pay the bills, running backwards and forwards. And Stuart came up with the idea of, let's set up a Scottish bagpiper. So Scottish bagpiper was the 3 of us, there was another piper, Willie Armstrong. And basically Stuart was full-time, and he said, listen, would you do the books, and at the same time, would you cover gigs on a Saturday or a Sunday? So that's where it started. The 3 of us got together, roll on a few years, and we came up with the idea, listen, now, I should highlight, I am a builder's son, so swearing is part of our family history, shall we say. So basically we're sitting going, doing weddings is you know, you're there by yourself, you get asked the same questions every week. How long have you played? Do you enjoy coming here? Of course I don't enjoy coming here, but you're paying me 150 quid to do it. So yes, I'm going to come along and pipe at your wedding. But out of that we thought, there's a gap in the market. There was after dinners we were piping at burn suppers, and after that it was entertainment came on after the main meal had finished for 30 minutes. And we thought, well, why don't we come up with the Red Hot Chili Pipers as an idea? The name itself wasn't created at that stage, just the concept of 3 pipers, 2 drummers. So we were on, we created the band. Then one day Stuart was tidying his flat, or should I say his girlfriend was tidying his flat, and he was observing, as he tells you now. And she put a Red Hot Chili Peppers CD in amongst his piping collection. And he said to her, why did you do that? And he said, well, I thought it said Red Hot Chili Pipers. And there, ladies and gentlemen, was the name founded for this entity. Now, the entity itself was a hard thing to get off the ground because many people don't like new things that come into the market. You'll all experience that when you've set up your new business. You know, a new product creates excitement in terms of your own head and your own ideas, but it also creates a fear factor in the market of what is this? You know, how is it going to achieve and where is it going to achieve? And certainly in our first few days and our first few months of getting the business up and running, we had the idea, we had a theory of what we want to do, but how could we get this out there so people could actually listen to what we did and got events? So we ended up having to give the product away for free. And we did it for free free for the first 18 months, 2 years. And it was just going basically along to the agencies that had booked us as individuals as pipers and saying, look, we've got this idea, can we get on? Hindsight's a great thing because you look at it and go, they were going, that's great, we've got these 5 idiots that are going to come along here, they're going to play for nothing and we're going to charge them out at 600, 700, 800, £1,000. Quickly, you kind of realise that we can charge some money on that. We were very fortunate that we worked hard at what we did, like all of you have got to do, to move it forward to the next product, next development, next idea. And we entered a television show. We won the television show. I was away yesterday and I was talking to, I'm going to name drop now, I was playing golf with Alan Shearer yesterday of the England forward, and we were talking away and I said, you know, we were talking about his X Factor and the Britain's Got Talent, we were on that. They are the most dreadful programmes in the world, but they actually launched our career. And where I get really annoyed with them is the sob stories that have to go with it. You know, the prize for us was, we got flown down to London, we had to perform for 10 minutes maximum, and the winner gets a cheque for 10 grand. And we sat and go, and the guy's going, can you tell us what it means to you? And we were all going, it means 10 grand and a good party in the bar afterwards. And the guy's going, no, but you know, what does it really mean? And we're going, what do you want us to say? And it was going, well, tell us how it's going to affect your family and it's going to affect your life. No, it's not. It's going to affect my hangover tomorrow morning. That's really... So there's a point of that. You know, and since those days, it's gone on. And the band's now, we've toured the world, we've done tours in Germany, France, Spain, America. I'm very fortunate next month we're getting to go over and do a private gig for Gary Player at the Augusta Masters. So as a golfer, it's my dream gig to get over there. Now these opportunities were all created, and how did we get to where we got? Hard work's the honest answer to it. You know, it's not... There is luck involved in any sort of business because you need to be at the right place at the right time to have the right opportunities. The BBC clip that we showed there at the start and the track that came along with it, was it luck? Absolutely it was luck. What happened was we got booked to play Murrayfield for the rugby, if any of you saw us on there. But we've done it 15 times in a row and I was going, we need to come up with a new idea. What can we do differently at the rugby this time? How about taking someone from the charts that's popular, Avicii? 10 minutes after that I get a phone call from BBC Radio 1 saying we're launching the big weekend in Glasgow, would you come along and play it? Now, going back 6 months, and the reason why I wasn't on that video was we got invited to go up to BBC up north and Greg James was doing a tour of Scotland in the lead up to Tina Park. It was the biggest waste of time in my life, a whole day wasted. But what that opportunity did give us was we became known to the BBC, we got onto it. And we did that clip, but as I said, I couldn't be arsed getting out of my bed in the morning, and it was to be 7 o'clock at Glasgow Studios, and I stayed 20 minutes that way, so the young lads went on to it. But the actual idea behind the Chili's and where the movement has gone now has gone from being about 5 individuals that started it to a brand. We changed the concept of what we wanted it to be on day one, which was a bit of fun, a bit of entertainment and a few quid in our back pocket for the weekend. That's how it started. There was no genius idea behind it. There was no let's make millions out of it. And there still isn't this let's make millions out of it. But what there is an idea and what there is a focus is that any opportunity that comes our way, we will take it, we'll grasp it, we'll move it, we'll develop it and take it to the next level. And I think all of you as individuals will need to sit back and go, I've got my concept, I've got my idea, I need to take this forward. Who's my market? Where am I going to get into? And then take it forward. And then once you're in there, don't sit and go, well, that's me made it, I've done it. It's not, it's take it and move it and build it. Now I was sitting going, well, when we're talking here today, and I've got my key points here that I've written out, look at that, clever. And I was sitting going, what are the things or advice that I can give you guys from what I've learned over the period? And you know, what are the common goals that we had as individuals on day one? Now, like any business, the Chili's itself, from the outside, has been a very fluid business. It's got bigger, it's bigger and bigger. We've gone from a turnover of 0 effectively in 2003 to we've just finished our 2013 accounts. We've turned over £1 million. Now there's a lot more cost associated with that nowadays, but it's still an achievement for that to be it's an achievement to get to that stage, for my opinion, on bagpiping. But it hasn't always been that easy road. There was five of us that started it. We're now left to 2. So 3 of the guys, through whether it be injury, through it be difference of opinions, have moved on. They've gone different directions. And the saddest thing about where we stand today is that business was started with 5 friends and it's ended up with 2 working colleagues. So not all success stories in terms of what's up there is a success in relation to business? Yes, ticks the business box. Personally, no, because it costs us all friendships. So the key advice that I've given you on that side, that's, hopefully you see it's a very open and honest assessment there from my opinion, is that businesses change, people change, money changes people. And I include myself in that. If I look back where I was in 2003 to where I am in 2030, do I have different goals and objectives? Yes. Do they match the person that I was in 2003? No. Does it match the other 5 guys that were there in 2003? No, because we all went in different directions. And as much as you can have this common belief, once money comes in, once success comes in, people start going that way. And what then ends up happening is he sides with him, he sides with him, and this guy gets left in the middle. He doesn't know what to do. And ultimately where we're at today, the reconciliations have gone on, but the business cost us our friendship. And it's cost us probably more than we'll ever get to know. So the key element in that is, there was a few key aspects that I've written down here today to say to all of you is, you may go into business with friends, but treat it like a business from day one. Don't sit and go, I've got this idea, okay, I'll put all the business beside it, and great, we'll get on and we'll do this and we'll achieve this and we'll achieve that, and nothing's in writing. Put things down and say, okay, you'll be responsible for that, you'll do that, and we'll agree on this. We'll agree 50-50, we'll agree 30-40, whatever it doesn't matter what it is, but as long as it's in writing. We didn't have anything in writing in this business for the best part of 7 years, and by the time we actually got around the table to agree who was getting what, it was too late, the damage was done. So my key advice on that is that business is business and friends are friends. The two can mix, but be very clear on who your guidelines are and what to do. The other key element I would say is that all along in relation to developing this business is have somebody or a person or persons that are older than you, wiser than you, and can sit and give you a bit of a steer in the right direction, and never be afraid to hear the words of, what the are you doing? Because I hear that all the time in relation to having that coil or a person that I can bounce stuff off of who is not linked to my business. He is a lawyer that sits on our board but doesn't sit on our board, if this makes sense, in relation to he's not involved in the day-to-day activities. But I can pick the phone up to him. I can say, we're thinking about doing this. What do you think as an outsider? As you think as a business interest? So the unfortunate side is a lot of these things cost money. And as a starter business, you're sitting going, I can't afford that. So the starter person for me was my dad. He had a place that he could sit and I could say, Dad, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? Now, not everybody has that person. But I would say that genuinely, having that guiding person there to speak to bounce ideas off that is not linked to your business is invaluable, and something that you should all think as part of your business strategy to go, right, we've got the concept, we've got the ideas, we now know how to take it to market. Can we get somebody to do a cold review on this? Get somebody to understand our business. Can we sell it to them? Because if they buy into your business, then you've got a lot better chance of making it, as opposed to just being so bloody minded that this will make it. Because ultimately, unfortunately, it won't always make it. And the other side of my career as an accountant, I have seen that side of it, where people just keep on going down a path, that there's no path of recovery. And the hardest part as an accountant is you sit there and go, you know this guy's going to fail. And as much as you try and tell the guy he's going to fail, he's so tracked in his mind that, I will make it, I will make it. And unfortunately, that doesn't always make it. Now, moving on from that, this is an interesting kind of debate on this, because we have a discussion in the band about, do we run as a band? Do we run as individuals that come together as a band? Or, as the boys will tell me, do we run like a dictatorship now? Now, dictatorship is a very, very interesting word, and one that fills me with dread by using that terminology, but how our business works is ultimately, I get up in the morning, I control the business in relation to the finances, the logistics, the management. Everything to do with the business all goes through my head, goes through my computer, and ultimately the decisions made in this business are all down to me. Yes, we have shareholders. Yes, we have decision makers in it. But ultimately, I decide what goes on. Now, that's a very, very selfish sounding action, but over the course of 11 years, to allow businesses to react instantly to decisions. So I'll give you an example. This morning, coming in here today, I got a phone call for a gig on Friday night. Now, the Chili's itself as an entity as I said on day one, started as 5 friends. We went to 8 guys, and probably one of the biggest differences between me and one of the other fellows that started the band was he believed it was about the 8 individuals, and I believed it was about the brand. Ultimately, where we're at now is the brand won over the individuals. And the phone call today went, we've got a gig, Kevin, we've got a gig on Friday. We're playing at the EICC. Glen Eagles have just phoned up. The band that they booked can't do it. Can we put in a second band on Friday? Now, 5 years ago, I would have said no, because the individuals that play in the band were already playing in Edinburgh. Fast forward today, we have 50 people working for the Chili's. The music or the brand that you saw up there is about the overall brand and all the individuals that make up it. We have in and up to 50 people working for us in a calendar month. And the simple answer was yes. And it was a question, how much does that cost? Gave them the price. What time will you be there? We'll be there. Who will be on the gig? He'll be on the gig. All decisions that I made like that, done. No committee. There wasn't a phone around to go, right guys, I need a 3-2 majority on this one. I need to decide who it is. Now, is that me being a dictator, or is it just me because I'm the MD of the business I've made those decisions? It's a very, very, in my opinion, grey area there, that you can make this determination that I have the power to decide what happens to the Chili's today. I could go make a phone call just now and say, cancel every single gig, don't do anything ever again, and that would be finished. So I have the power to do that, but I also have the power to look at it and go, we've got 50 guys in there, they've got mortgages, they've got bills to pay, and I have a responsibility to look after them. So from my point of view, decision making in your organisations is going to be very key, and who has those decisions, and ultimately when there's more than one of you making those decisions, getting a common belief and a common agreement isn't always going to be achievable, and it's how you resolve those differences of opinions, effectively, the 2 against 2 or the 3 against 1 or the 4 against 2. And in our band, even though we had this deemed committee on day one, the funny thing that we always laugh about, and as I say we come back, we've reconciled off, is that even when it was 4 against 1, and I wasn't the one, it was Stuart. The interesting part about Stuart, and I laugh now, is that even though he was beat 4 against 1, he would argue for hours that his decision was right and we're all idiots and it's wrong and move on. He could never grasp the fact that it was a majority, a democracy about what we want to do and how we want to do it and all that kind of stuff. And the key element was we ended up going in different directions because of that. So if you find that person that kind of makes your decisions and he can help you get on the way, or you can make those decisions, just be very clear on who can do what and when they can do it and how they can do it, because ultimately you're going to lead yourself to grief, strife, and probably put your business at risk by not making those informed decisions at the right time. I would also say never be afraid to hear the words you're doing something wrong, because you'll take a step back and actually look at your business objectively, and I would suggest that periodically you look at your business after a 3 or a 6 month period and go, okay, what have I achieved, how have I achieved it, and how did we get to where we want to get to in the future. And I think that's the thing, is never be afraid to hear somebody kind of criticise you in your business, and accept all forms of criticism. Even the criticism might not be right in your opinion, and if it's not, accept it and just say, okay, I agree with your opinion or I disagree with it, but move on from it. The environment that you're all going to go into will be constantly changing. So be adaptable to the market. For argument's sake, well, for what happened to us was, we built this business in 2003, we took it to the corporate world, and we were doing gigs here, there, everywhere. The best gig, anybody from Royal Bank here? Nope, that's great. Because what happened, our best gig ever, and it sums up why we had to change our business model and our theory and all that kind of stuff, was in 2007, as I said, we won the television show. In 2008, Royal Bank of Scotland, pre-going bust, invited us to come out and play at their St Andrew's Day supper in New York. Best gig of our life. Best gig because we never actually had to go anywhere. And what happened was they booked us up and they said, right, we want you to come out, we want you to play for 35 minutes in New York. How much is that going to be? And I said, it's going to be £18,000 for the gig. And, by the way, the flights are 15 grand, so it's £33,000 it's going to cost you. And I said, that's priced up. The boys were all happy. It was the greatest gig we've ever had. Then what happened is in November 2008, the world goes to tits. It just all goes tits up. Good thing it was, Royal Bank had paid us before we actually got off in the flight. And the best part of it was, they then phoned up and said, can we get our money back? I says, no. I think you want to look at your clause in your contract which says if you cancel and we're still available to fly, then we keep the money. And he said, can we use it for another gig? I said, no. I said, you'll find that doesn't happen. However, fast forward, the best gig of our life, never had to go. Fast forward, the corporate world was dead. Nobody was spending any money. Nobody wanted to do anything. Nobody could be seen to do anything. And even on that 33,000 that the Royal Bank of Scotland paid into our business bank account, we were to tell nobody that we were going to New York. We were to tell nobody that Royal Bank of Scotland had signed a cheque prior to us doing the performance, because it wasn't the thing to be seen or thing to be done. And out of that we said, right, okay, the corporate market is, again, excuse the French, what are we going to do? We still need to make money. We still need to grow this business. And luckily, we'd won the television show in 2007, and there was a kind of semi-want or a semi-need for us to do public performances where people could buy tickets. And we thought, right, well, we should start putting concerts on, because at least we'll make some money at the concerts. And that side of our business grew, and it grew, and it grew, until the stage now where we have corporate world is coming back, not to the levels of 2008, I may add, and there's a lot more diligence going on in terms of what cheques get written. But to the same extent, excuse me, both businesses are now running. So we have what we call the corporate band sitting there, and we also have the big band, and the two are now running in tandem. So our business has evolved because we changed it from the environment. It will carry on evolving because we'll have to look at it and go, the corporate market might go down again. The big band market might go down again. You know, people might get bored of listening to bagpipes. I've listened to it for, well, best part of 30 years now, and I'm bored of it, but at the end of the day it's paying my mortgage, so we'll carry on doing it. But certainly it's an interesting one from all of you sitting going that the idea that came out on day one has certainly moved on several stages from there. Part of it because of our own wants and needs, but part of it because of the environment we're working in. So again, be very conscious of what environment you're working in and how it's changing, and never be caught in your product, get caught in the environment. The interesting part is, from my point of view, is that the chilies, to start with, as I said on day one, were a bit of fun and a bit of entertainment and a bit of this and a bit of that. And ultimately, I look back now and I still get out of my bed each day loving going to a gig. And if I can leave you, I know that's not gone green yet, it's still green in terms of light, but if I can leave you with one thing, love what you do, don't do it because it makes you money, because ultimately I believe that will fail. I love getting up in the morning, I love doing a set of accounts, as strange as that sounds. I love being part of businesses. I'm very fortunate that the opportunities have been created as a CA. Coming back to my original point is, you know, I got my qualification. The door started opening in terms of when I left practice after 4 years. I became a finance director at 26 of a construction company. I loved every aspect of developing a business from the construction side, being part of a business. And when the chilies got bigger, I had to leave that part of the work. I'm still the FD of that construction company, but on a week-to-week basis rather than on a full-time basis. But I still wake up every day. I love doing the chilies. I love doing a set of accounts. As strange as the two may contrast, and you say, and go, how can he enjoy both? And, you know, they're very different. And I think the answer is because I have variety in my life. I have an opportunity to do, like here today, I was doing a set of accounts this morning with a client discussing the business. I'm here talking to you guys just now, and in about 2 hours' time I'm going to be dashing up to Gleneagles to do a gig for Mitsubishi tonight and have fun on stage for half an hour. And I'll get home, and tomorrow I'll wake up and I'll do exactly the same again, because we've got a gig at Kelvin Grove Art Gallery. And it's having a love and a passion for your business is something that nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can change that from you. The minute you lose that, though, is the minute to walk away and try something new, because there have been times through losing friends and through losing opportunities that I've looked at and go, man, I just walk away, this is shit. But it's not, because I love getting on stage and I love performing, and I love the concept behind what the chilies. And if anything, I probably my enjoyment for it and my passion for it has grown over the 11 years from a point of view of the youngsters coming into the band now. When we started it in 2003, we were mocked, we were ridiculed. You know, these guys are idiots, look at these guys jumping about the stage, they're fannies on bagpipes. You know, that's it, we had it all, we were in the pipe band world. People hated what we did. We were seen as the dark enemies, you know, they're tarnishing a traditional instrument. To nowadays, we have probably the best young players coming through in Scotland, whether it be on percussion, whether it be on bagpipes. They're desperate to join the band. And I take great pride out the fact that as a business, we have kept a national instrument in terms of the Scottish Highland bagpipes in main focus, and people are sitting going, you either love them or you hate them, but at least you're getting to hear them, is my argument to it constantly. And I think the fact is that the Red Hot Chili Peppers will be here after I'm finished with it, and I firmly believe that it will be here in 20, 30 years' time. Maybe not to the extent they are today, but the young team will take it forward. And if I've got a part to do in that, then I'll take great pride in that. And I think you should all take great pride in whatever you're going to do as a business going forward, but just have the heart to stick at it when times get rough, because certainly it's not been an easy streak for me. But again, thank you very much for your time, listening to me today, droll on and on and on and on, and if you can take anything out of it, then I've achieved what I came here to do today. Thank you.